there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Prav. In this video, I'll talk through the 6 most common expenses in Australia as an international student. My goal is that even if one student watches this and learns to budget their expenses, then this video is worth making. While Australia is an amazing place to study, it is also among the top 20 most expensive countries to live in. Therefore, it is important that we understand what our major expenses are from day one. I'll also give you some tips on how to budget your expenses effectively. So meet John, a student who recently moved to Australia. John was excited to start his new life. However, he was worried about how expensive living in Australia is. He didn't know how much he would need to spend on accommodation, food, and other expenses. So let's look at the top 6 expenses in Australia as an international student. So the expense number 1 is the accommodation. Accommodation is one of the first thing to factor into your budget and probably will take up a huge chunk of your expenses. The cost can vary depending on whether you opt for on-campus housing or off-campus rentals. The monthly accommodation cost for international students may vary between 440 Australian dollars to 1200 Australian dollars. This depends on the type of accommodation they choose for living, whether it is shared accommodation or private accommodation. Living in the city center is a bit pricier compared to the suburbs. After COVID-19, there has been high demand and a shortage of supply, which has made housing market more expensive. Whether you're living in the regional areas or the metropolitan cities like Melbourne, Sydney, Adelaide and Brisbane, and this cost will also vary depending on the which city you are staying in. Here is a table that you can give you a rough overview of the average cost of your accommodation in Australia. Now moving on to expense number 2, which is the food and groceries. The average cost of food and groceries for international students is estimated to be between $80 to $150 per week. So on an average of monthly expenses, that is around $320 to $600 a month. If you dine out, a meal could cost you $15 to $20. I'm talking about a very regular meal, not even on a fancy restaurant. To save money on food expenses, you can consider cooking at home, shopping at local markets, and taking advantage of student discounts. Now the expense number 3, which is utilities and bills. Depending on the accommodation, sometimes utility bills are included in the bill, or if not, it can cost you an extra sum every month. Utility bills include internet, electricity, heating, gas, and water. The cost of utility can vary depending on the type of accommodation and usage. According to my research, students normally pay around $300 on average for 3 months in summer and around $500 during winter for electricity and other utility bills. Now expense number 4, which is transportation cost. The fares on public transportation, including buses, trams, trains, and ferries, are usually affordable. In Australia, the average monthly cost of public transportation is estimated to be between 100 to 150 Australian dollar. If you intend to drive a car, keep in mind the expenses associated with gas, upkeep, and insurance. According to estimates from the Australian government, the cost of operating and maintaining a car can range from Australian $150 to $250 each week after purchase. You might want to think about less expensive solutions like motorized scooter or bicycle to save money. And now the expense number 5, which is mobile expenses. There are 2 types of mobile phone plans here in Australia, which is prepaid and postpaid plans. With the prepaid plan, you pay for the cost of usage in advance and select a plan based on your needs. Postpaid plans require you to pay a fixed cost each month. You can purchase a mobile phone with a monthly plan that ranges from $60 to $70 and can go up to $150 depending on the plan. Now moving on to the expense number 6, which is other expenses. Lastly, remember to budget for other expenses. These include costs for books, medical expenses, gym memberships, social activities, and travel. They are not limited to this, as there may be other miscellaneous expenses depending on one's lifestyle. The average cost of gym membership in Australia is $62 per month. So there we go. That is a comprehensive breakdown of the major expenses of living in Australia for an international student in 2024. Remember, it's all about planning and adapting, so don't get overwhelmed with the numbers. Instead, use them to plan your stay better. In my next video, we will be talking about how you can manage your expenses. In the meantime, to get a clear picture of how much you can expect to spend monthly, I recommend you research and create a budget spreadsheet, or you can also use an online app. Factor in all the mentioned costs and tailor it to your lifestyle and preferences. You can also use a cost of living calculator to discover how much it would cost to have the lifestyle you choose in Australia. Here are some links to the cost of living calculators that you might find helpful. Cost of living calculator by Study Australia, living expenses Calculator by Bank Australia, Cost of Living Calculator by Insider Guide. Before I wrap this up, if you find this content helpful and informative, consider giving this video a like. It shows support for the channel and helps me bring more quality videos your way. Also, if you have any experiences or tips on managing finances as an international student in Australia, please share with us in the comments section. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.